Okay, let's get started. So by request from a few people, I'll do a little bit of a walkthrough of the solution for the shell homework. And then we'll talk about servers, socket servers. Maybe we'll make a little web server. And perhaps some email if we have time. Okay, so let's get started with the homework solution walkthrough then. And unfortunately for that, I'm going to have to pause the recording for a little bit. For those of you who are here, maybe you don't mind. This is a homework that we're probably going to be reusing several times, and it's not going to be helpful to have the entire solution up on the screen for the. Okay, solution has been discussed. Let's get back to servers. So far we're just doing a simple TCP client or a streaming client. We'll do a little bit of UDP maybe next time as well, but for all intents and purposes, TCP is going to be like 99.9% of all the stuff you do when you do your own programming. It's going to be TCP. If you do it in UDP, you're going to have a very, very good reason to do it. Don't kid yourself that it's going to be faster because you do it in UDP. That's just not going to happen. But there are situations where using UDP is right, and maybe you'll find those in TS450. Okay, let's see how this goes. Where's my pointer? So if we want to be a TCP client, client. We declare a socket, we connect the socket, right, and then we start sending and receiving. Okay, so servers, okay, so maybe I should specify one more thing here. For connect, we say which address and which port. All right. Through some complicated syntax that happens to be a leftover of 40 years ago. Okay, so now we want to be a server. What might be different about being a server compared to being a client? I promise you the reading and the writing, or the sending and receiving, are the same. So we can put that in right away. So send and receive.
And handle more than one client.
Oh, interesting. So yes, many servers have to be able to handle not only more than one client like after each other, but sometimes at the same time. So you might have an ongoing connection with one, and then another one comes in. That seems like a fairly complicated story, and actually something we'll have to deal with in the next probably several lectures in different ways. But let's start with the very simple servers. This one, all the server does is receive a call, respond, and then quit. It can only ever handle one client, and certainly nothing in parallel. Then what? What's different about a server compared to a client? It has to what? Yeah, right. So there's the biggest difference between a client and a server. A server has to sit there for a long time and then hope that someone's going to come and ask for a favor. Right? I guess it is a little bit like being a butler. Although you can clean the silver, right? But, okay, so we have to actually wait, and that's called listen. Wait for incoming request. Okay, that's a very good one. Any other ideas? Anything else that's different? Actually, so actually for a socket, that's the same thing. Create socket. We're missing something more here. Yeah.
It actually has to execute sometimes, depending on what it's.
Has to execute. Well, so what happens here with listen? So the server is just another program. You start it, but then eventually it's going to hit listen, and then it's just waiting. It's not doing anything until something comes in, and then it runs again. It's like reading from the command line, if you want, with any kind of read. It's always blocking, right? So here we have the same story. We're just waiting to get a request in. Well, so there's a piece of code here, and I don't expect anyone to know what it means and what it's called. But there's something we need to do here that's different about a server compared to a client. So the listen here is a very important and big difference between servers and clients. So clients never have to wait for anyone. They just go and ask and they get a response. I suppose they can have to wait sometimes when they receive, because the response might take a little while to come. Exactly. So we have to say, what's our address and what's our port? So the address might be, it doesn't matter so much. If the message comes in to the machine, maybe we're willing to accept any request on any of the machine's different addresses. So in fact, any machine you've used, probably, any network machine you've used, has at least 2 addresses. And you have the 127.0.0.1, that's the local host, and then it has some other IP address that has to do with the rest of the world. So those are 2 addresses that a request could come in on, but that maybe is fine. Then we also have to say which port. So this is very important for any server. Otherwise, there's no way to contact it. Right? You start a program and don't say which port you're listening on. How's anyone else supposed to specify which port to talk to you on? So it's called bind, address, and port. What are we listening for? And then it so happens that for servers with the API the way things are, there's one more piece here, and it's called accept. So it actually returns a client socket. Okay, call it like this. So now I'm writing pseudocode here. So now we have we know that something's come in. Listen here, it just waits, and then it stops waiting. But then if we want to actually talk to whoever came in here, now we have to say accept using our socket here that we bound. And then what comes out is another client socket. So this is for the purpose of talking to multiple different clients at the same time. So now we have a specific socket that only goes to that client. And then later on we can accept again, we get another socket that goes to another client. We can talk to lots of different people at the same clients at the same time. But here, okay, so we have a client socket, and now we send and receive on this one. No. On the client socket, and that makes sure it only goes to that client. Okay, so let's see if we can get one of those clients, one of those web servers up and going. Actually, let's start with something on the command line, because we've done this in the past, but NC netcat, very convenient tool for playing with stuff. Let's try listening to a certain port, 8080, let's say. Oh. What do you want? Yeah, so it's different between Mac and Linux, and I keep forgetting which one is which. Let's see. L, we should listen. Use in conjunction with P. That looks right.
It is an error to use this in conjunction with L. Under the P section.
Is that what it said?
Yeah.
It's an error to, oh, okay. Interesting. So then we have to specify it without the P on this platform. There, okay. So now I can connect to localhost or 8080 and I get my hello. Right? So what I specified here, now I just say which port I wanted to listen to, and it's fine, I don't care which address. I can specify any of the addresses of my local machine, but this is the port. And then on the other side, now I'm creating a TCP client. If I want, I can go like this instead. Same thing, there's the hello. Any TCP client would do the same thing. Okay. Virtually every program you ever run, except for a few games, and except for DNS, this program, host, almost everything else uses TCP. And so that means, and the network doesn't care what application you're running, almost. It shouldn't. So if you know how TCP works, you probably know how to talk to every program out there, more or less, every server out there. Okay, so let's make a web server. I think we had a web client here. Yeah, that's the one from last time. See if we can make a server out of it. So I'll write that out as server.c. Okay, now we're server. So we have the same socket, we have the same port, except here we want the address should be any. So that's a little macro. It actually means just zeros. It comes out of here, but it just means all zeros, and the OS will interpret that as we don't care. I'm going to use a different port, so I don't have to sudo all the time. Any port under 1024 you have to be super user to start using, which means if you start a program that wants that port, you have to be super user. We can't connect, but we can bind. So now I'm binding this socket to the specified address instead. So now we're just going to be using that port on our local machine. And then we can't send anything because we haven't talked to anyone yet. So why don't we start with that? So now we'll just listen. Okay, so this here is a little backlog. It says, how many incoming requests do you want to hold on to? So if I'm busy handling one request, the OS will actually just hold on to 10 other incoming requests for when I come back and say listen later on. If it's 0, then I'm only going to get the 1. If anyone else wants to come in, they say no, sorry. And connection refused, I think the OS will do. Okay, let's see if we can get this to work first. Got a listen. Got an incoming connection. And let's skip the rest. Come on. There. Okay, that looks innocuous enough, but maybe I should be nice. Never mind. Oh, what is this? We got an incoming connection. We should not have gotten an incoming connection. I didn't connect yet. Okay, so let's just see what's coming out. Huh. Am I trying to connect from somewhere? Say, oh, I don't think so. Okay. This worked out fine. It's got to be something totally trivial that I... Oh, passing on...
Network, is that correct?
Oh. What's this? Oh, I'm not allowed to do this. What's that? Host to network. Yeah, that's right. That's just the port 8080. That's correct. I want to see if we actually got a socket out here. I'd be surprised, but oh, we don't get a socket yet. So accept. Let's see if we got something coming there. Oh. Oh, that's curious. Yeah, I don't know why, but it looks like the accept is blocking instead of listen. So let's see if that's the case, and then we're going to have to go home for today. But I'll solve this by next time for sure. See if we can connect it. Oh, there we are. So maybe I'm misremembering, actually. No, can't be. Anyway, so my understanding was that listen is supposed to block here. But maybe on OS X in a recent version, or maybe I'm just misremembering this. They stopped doing that. You just have to say listen and then accept is where it's blocking. That's confounding. I'll figure this out for sure, and we'll talk more about servers on Wednesday. Okay, so I think the lab tomorrow is going to be again on the same debugger homework. Probably not that much talking and more just helping out, but check with Tim to make sure. So I'll see you Wednesday.